Here's the story of Lavel Davis Jr., Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry. About a year ago, tragedy struck the Virginia football team and the Charlottesville community. These young men had a bright future ahead of them, both on and off the field. But unfortunately, they were taken too soon. Before their tragic deaths, each player were carving out their own path on campus. Lavel Davis Jr. was from Ridgeville, South Carolina, and was in his third year on the football team, where he was proving to be a productive receiver. Lavel was involved with racial and social justice groups on campus. He also majored in African American and African Studies. He was set to graduate in December of 2022. Lavel's dad said a degree was really important to him as Lavel was a role model for his younger siblings. Devin Chandler had a very different story on how he ended up in Charlottesville. He was from Huntersville, North Carolina, and majored in African American Studies. He spent his first couple years of college in Wisconsin before transferring to UVA to play wide receiver. He hadn't been on campus long, but he left a lasting impact on those around him. Deshaun Perry from Miami was in his fourth year at Virginia. He actually had the second longest pick six by a linebacker in school history. Outside of football, Deshaun was a double major in both studio art and African American and African Studies. His family said football and art were his passions. Unfortunately, on November 13th, 2022, tragedy struck. A bus full of students were returning to campus from Washington, D.C. when another student and a former teammate of the trio opened fire on the group. Davis, Chandler, and Perry were killed while two other students were injured and were released from the hospital later. The shooter, Christopher Darnell Jones Jr, was arrested and charged with murder. After the shooting, many vigils and wakes were put on to remember and honor the players that were slain. Campus was covered with memorials, and social media was flooded with people sharing condolences and touching stories of their interactions with those who passed. The football team canceled their last game of the 2022 season. Thousands attended their funeral, and the university honored the students with posthumous degrees and gave them to their families. Different schools and football teams honored the fallen with stickers on their helmets and many other shows of support. The NFL also honored the young men and their families before the 2023 draft. On September 9th, 2023, at Virginia's first home game, they honored the players with a pregame ceremony. All of the UVA players lined up in the end zone to watch a video tribute while 4 parachuters came down with flags trailing them, one with each player's number and a fourth that read Virginia Strong. The university also unveiled their permanent memorials in the stadium for the fallen players. Whether it was through football, their social groups on campus, or the art they made, these 3 young men had a lasting effect on all those they touched. They were inspirations for their communities and will never be forgotten. Rest in peace to Lavel Davis Jr., Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry.